Tony Blair claims Britain can ditch free movement of people and slash immigration while remaining in the EU - something that could see Brexit reversed. The ex-PM says the Germans and French share concerns with migration levels and are open to compromise. This flies in the face of the official stance of EU chief Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier, who has said this is impossible. Mr. Blair believes EU leaders are willing to tighten up free movement of citizens so the possibility of reversing Brexit is kept alive. He claims the Tories lost their majority in the election because large numbers of people voted to deny Theresa May the mandate for a so-called hard Brexit. Mr. Blair suggested the will of the people may be changing as the difficulties of Brexit negotiations become apparent and called for a proper debate over the different options, including remaining in a reformed EU. The only reason it is not on the table is because the Tories fear old internal wounds would be reopened if Brexit does not happen, he said. The former Labour leader also criticised his party's vision of a jobs-first Brexit outside the single market, calling it a contradiction in terms, and said he was dubious about the idea that it helped win over Remain and Leave voters in the general election. Rational consideration of the options would sensibly include the option of negotiating for Britain to stay within a Europe itself prepared to reform and meet us halfway, he wrote in an article for his Institute for Global Change. The Macron victory changes the political dynamics of Europe. The members of the Eurozone will integrate economic decision-making. Inevitably, therefore, Europe will comprise an inner and outer circle. Reform is now on Europe's agenda. The European leaders, certainly from my discussions, are willing to consider changes to accommodate Britain, including around freedom of movement. Yet this option is excluded. Mr. Blair's article was published alongside polling which suggested 70% of Britons would support free movement if it was reformed to mean EU citizens would not have an automatic right to move to a country without a job offer, and if there were stricter controls on welfare. German and French voters would favour similar controls, the polling suggested. We are all learning, as we proceed, the damage Brexit will do. Mr. Blair said, Europe knows it will be poorer and less powerful without us. We know our currency is down around 12%, already jobs are going. There is not £350 million a week more for the NHS, and we actually need most of the migrants who come to work in the UK. On any basis, leaving is complex and will take years. Brexit is the biggest political decision since the Second World War.